Hey guys, we'll just be doing a quick video here on the recent card updates in Eternal. So, as you go in, they have the cards listed right here. Frontier Jito, that usually used to cost 1, now costs 2. I think this will change the way the deck functions a bit, but the deck usually goes wide to win anyways. I don't think this will make the deck bad. This card just needed some kind of balance. As far as the Soulfire Drake, it used to be an influence requirement of red, and now it's triple red. I do think this is better because a lot of these cards were being splashed in 3 and 4 color decks. Maybe not 4 color for this, but they're being splashed in 3 color decks that they shouldn't be able to be so easily splashed. So I think this is fair, and it's still very playable in red green or red black. I mean, if you're playing this in a Stone Scar deck, for example, you're running Flame Blast that also costs triple red, so that shouldn't change how this card is played. The Crown Watch Paladin, I think, could have stayed the exact same as it was. That being said, I don't think this is a bad change. It still takes 2 Lightning Storms to kill it, or something in Lightning Storm to kill it. It still blocks creatures with 2 toughness or trades with creatures with 2 toughness. Yeah, sure, now it dies to some creatures with 1 attack, but most of those creatures that would kill it anyways are still going to kill it through Rally or some other pump spell. So I think this is fine. As for the Spire Chaplain, I think this is a good buff. It was a 3 mana 3/2 for a rare, and I don't think giving it 3 toughness is going to break the card. It now survives Lightning Storm and can block something like this profitably, and I think this is a good buff for a rare. I mean, we have cards that are 2 mana for 3/3s with upside in black, so this is not a bad buff at all. I like this change on this card. Going on to Cobalt Monument, I think that's a good change. 5 power for a 3/4 flyer, which this previously was. It was okay late game, you're kind of flooding, but now as a 4/4 flyer, it's a lot better. I might actually incorporate 1 or 2 of these into my Feln mid-range deck now that it's a 4/4 flyer. So I like this change a lot. This is a really solid change, and now that puts it more on par with the White Monument, for example, that turns into a 5/5 with Overwhelm. 5 mana for a 4/4 flyer is a lot closer to that in power level. This is fair. Scaly Grown, this is a good change. I think you might see some constructed decks playing it now on the rank ladder as opposed to just a draft card. You might see some Feln decks putting it in, especially with a few other changes that have occurred. 2/4/1/4 is a good blocker. It survives most cards like this, and costing 2 instead of 3, it's a good curve this into a lot of the 3 or 4 mana Feln cards. So not bad. You might see some people playing it a little bit. Going on to Tundra Explorer. I believe Tundra Explorer used to be 2 for a 2/2, and now it's 3 for a 3/3. I don't mind this change. It's not a card that sees a lot of play outside of very specific decks anyways, and I do like that it has a bit of a better body now, so I'm not opposed to this change, and I don't think it's going to change much with the card, to be honest with you. Windshaper, 4 for a 2/4. It used to be 5 for a 2/5. I like this change a lot. This isn't going to do anything to the game, but 4 for a 2/4 makes it a lot more playable, along the lines of what I said with this as well. So I like this change. It's not a card that sees a lot of play in constructed, so it's not going to affect the game that much. Staff of Stories, it dropped from a 4 armor, from a 5 armor to a 4 armor. That's not going to change anything for me. I'm still going to run it in my Ikaria blue deck. I'm still going to run it in my Feln mid-range deck. It changes 0 for me personally. So I don't have anything good to say about the change. I don't have anything bad to say about the change. I'm still going to play this card. It's still good enough for me to play. Gerald Iceheart, it used to be a 6-6, now it's a 6-7. I didn't play it when it was a 6-6. I probably won't play it much as a 6-7 either. That being said, I've never built a deck around it. If I do, sure. It's not a bad card, I just haven't had a reason to play it. I'm fine with this. It's a legendary. Being a 6-7 for 6, triple primal influence, I think that's okay. Thunderstrike Dragon used to be a 5-5, now it's a 5-6. I like this. It now blocks Ikaria profitably unless Ikaria is pumped with Warcry. It's a triple influence 6 mana card. I'm okay with the change personally. It's a rare. I have nothing bad to say about this. It's not going to break the card. Thread of the Past, it used to be 1 shadow influence, now it's 2. This doesn't change anything for me personally. I'm still going to play it in Feln. I'm still going to play it in Stonescar. Any deck I used to play this in, I'm still going to play this in. I think this is a good change. I think this should have been double shadow influence from the get-go. These cards they're just too strong to be as splashable as they were. This is still playable in a triple colored in a 3-color deck. It's just a bit more difficult than it used to be, which it should be. So I'm fine with this card being changed to double shadow. Subvert, I think, should definitely be double shadow. It used to be 1. It was just way too splashable as well. So I'm perfectly fine with this change. People are still going to play this card. Nothing's changed. And this is the same as I said about the Soulfire Drake. It should be triple. It's still going to be played in the same Stonescar decks it was played in. Nothing's changed here. I don't think you're going to see too many less decks playing this. Because the decks that play this also used to play Champion. And Champion needed triple black to get a buff anyways. So they'll still play this if they played it before. And this is probably the change that I agree with the absolute most is Zindel's Gift. This was probably the most splashed card in control decks. You have people playing it in 5-color Nicked decks because it only cost 1 shadow influence before. I think triple shadow influence for such a powerful card is very correct. Now you'll be seeing it in 1 and 2 color decks, maybe 3-color decks. This is fair. This is very fair for a card of this power level. This is the change I agree with the absolute most. Alright, next we have Champion of Wisdom. It used to be a 3-3, and it got +3/+3. And flying, that's the same. Now it's a 4/4 for 4, and it gets +2/+2. I think this is a much better build. 4 influences a lot for the ability to trigger, so I think starting it off for 4 as a 4/4 is going to make it a lot more playable. And then the buff works out to be the exact same anyways. If you get the influence, it'll still be a 6/6, but the base starting off higher I like a lot. So I think this is a good change. This was probably the second weakest champion, the green-white being the weakest in my opinion, so this is a good change. It's going to make it a bit more playable. I mean, I don't know what to say about Explorer Emeritus. It's better than it was, right? It was a 0/1, now it's a 0/2, so it's better than it was. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about this card. I don't think it's going to see any more play than it did before, but it's better than it was before. This one's probably one of the most controversial ones, is the Withering Witch. And I'll say this, I played 2 copies of it in my Feln mid-range. I'm still going to play 2 copies of it in my Feln mid-range. Yes, as when it was a 1/4 before, it was a decent blocker, but the truth is, it didn't block many things. At 5, by the time you played this, the main thing it was doing was changing your opponent's creature's toughness to become 1. It was more like a spell. So I don't think that changes, and the way the ability on this works, if you play this and they have a 10/10, you'll still be able to block the 10/10 and trade as you would if this was a 1/4. So I'm okay with this, and you know, I run stuff to recur this from the yard, so I'm going to treat it as a spell that I can recur through Vara and other things. I'm not going to say I agree with it being a 1/1 100% versus a 1/4 for 5, but I don't think it's gonna change what this card does in my deck the way I play it. So I'm not gonna complain about this too much. Champion of Chaos used to be triple red, and it used to get +1/+1 and Overwhelm, and triple black +1/+1 and Deadly. So basically now it always dies to Torch. It never survives Torch currently, and I do think that's relevant. I absolutely think that's relevant. It also can never get out of the range of double Lightning Storm. I think it's fair. This card is really strong, and as a 5/5, it was just it was a bit much at times. I wouldn't say broken, but it was extremely strong for a 3 casting cost card. So for the good parts, it can be a 5/3 with Overwhelm and Deadly. So as far as the amount of damage it can do and get through to the player, that hasn't changed at all. It can still just do 1 to a blocker and the rest to the player with the Overwhelm and Deadly combo. So as far as its aggressiveness, that hasn't changed. It's just its ability to survive certain things has changed. I think this is a okay change. It's not ridiculous. I think this is an okay change. I wouldn't have been opposed to it being +1 for the red and plus toughness for the black, but this being a 5/3 with Overwhelm and Deadly, I think is okay. So I don't think this is a bad change. I think for the most part I like all these changes. I don't think this needed to be changed. Everything else I'm okay with. I think most of them are really good changes. But let me know what you guys think of the changes in the comments, and thanks for watching.